Between 1953 and 1973, the Central Intelligence Agency of the United States conducted experiments on human subjects without their knowledge or consent inside universities, hospitals, and prisons across the United States and Canada under a program designated MKUltra. The program was authorized in April 1953 by CIA Director Allen Dulles and operated under the direct supervision of Sidney Gottlieb, a chemist operating at the highest level of government clearance with a single stated objective: the development of techniques for controlling human behavior. 150 sub-projects were conducted across 80 institutions, 44 of which were American universities, none of which disclosed to their patients or students that they were participating in CIA-funded research. In November 1953, Frank Olson, a CIA scientist with direct knowledge of the program, was administered LSD without his knowledge during a work retreat, and 9 days later fell from the 10th floor of a New York hotel. No investigation was opened. The MKUltra program operated through a network of front organizations, research foundations, academic institutions, and medical facilities, none of which were identified in internal CIA documentation as agency-controlled, and none of which informed their subjects that federal intelligence funding was directing the experiments being conducted on them. Sub-Project 68, conducted at the Allen Memorial Institute in Montreal under psychiatrist Ewan Cameron, involved the administration of LSD, barbiturates, and amphetamines to patients admitted for depression and anxiety disorders. Combined with the technique Cameron designated psychic driving, the looped playback of recorded messages through speakers embedded in helmets worn by sedated patients for periods extending to 22 hours per day, sustained across weeks, with the stated goal of erasing existing personality and replacing it with a new behavioral pattern installed by the researcher. Several of Cameron's patients upon discharge could not identify members of their own families. Sub-Project 3, conducted at Addiction Research Center in Lexington, Kentucky, administered LSD to subjects for 77 consecutive days, with dosage progressively doubled and tripled to counteract tolerance, under the supervision of Dr. Harris Isbell, who described the subjects in his notes as volunteer patients, though institutional records confirmed that participation was coerced through threats of withdrawal from existing medication. Sub-Project 54 targeted the brain directly. Research into concussive techniques capable of inducing amnesia without detectable physical trauma, described in surviving documentation as knockout research, designed to produce a state of unconsciousness and disorientation that would leave no forensic evidence of intervention. Operation Midnight Climax, a sub-program operating within MKUltra from 1954, established CIA-funded safe houses in San Francisco and New York, where federal narcotics agent George Hunter White hired prostitutes to administer LSD to clients without their knowledge, while White observed from behind one-way mirrors, taking notes for the agency on behavioral response to involuntary intoxication. White later wrote in a letter, "The work was just right for a cop who liked girls and drank a lot." In 1964, the program was reduced in scope. In 1967, it was further curtailed. In 1973, CIA Director Richard Helms, days before leaving office, ordered the destruction of all MKUltra files. The order was carried out. Most records were gone within weeks. What survived did so by accident. 20,000 documents filed in the wrong building, in the wrong section, under budget and fiscal records, rather than operational files. Discovered 4 years later only because a Freedom of Information Act request forced a search extensive enough to locate them. Those 20,000 pages are the complete record of what was done. The names of the subjects are not in them. In 1975, the existence of MKUltra became known to the public for the first time through the investigations of the Church Committee and the Rockefeller Commission, convened by the United States Senate and the White House respectively, to examine illegal activities conducted by American intelligence agencies. The Church Committee confirmed that LSD had been administered to subjects without their consent, that subjects had been held in sensory deprivation for extended periods, that electroshock had been used as a behavioral modification tool, and that at least one individual had lost his life as a direct consequence of the program's operations. No criminal charges were filed. In 1977, Admiral Stansfield Turner, then director of the CIA, testified before the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence and confirmed that 20,000 documents related to MKUltra had been discovered in a CIA records facility, misfiled under budget reports, surviving the 1973 destruction order by administrative error. Turner confirmed that the agency had conducted experiments on unwitting subjects. He confirmed that informed consent had not been obtained. He confirmed that the files destroyed in 1973 had contained the names of the subjects and the details of what was done to them. He stated that the CIA had no objection to proposed legislation extending human subjects' protections to intelligence agency operations. The legislation was never passed. In 1995, President Bill Clinton issued a formal apology to the survivors of government-sponsored human experimentation conducted during the Cold War era, acknowledging that American citizens had been used as test subjects without consent by agencies of the federal government, and that this represented a fundamental violation of human rights. Clinton's statement did not specifically name MKUltra. No individual responsible for the design, authorization, or operation of the program was ever charged, prosecuted, or convicted of any crime in connection with its activities. Sidney Gottlieb, chief of MKUltra from 1953 to 1973, retired to a goat farm in rural Virginia. He died in 1999. His obituary in the New York Times described him as a man who had dedicated his career to public service. The 20,000 surviving documents remain the only record of what was done. They contain no subject names. They contain no medical outcomes. They contain the program's budget, its funding structures, and its administrative correspondence. The number of individuals subjected to MKUltra experiments without their knowledge has never been established. The number who experienced permanent neurological or psychological damage has never been established. The number who lost their lives has never been established. These figures do not exist in any government record that has been made available to the public.